Hello, everyone, and welcome to the channel. Of course, you know me as Stan the Shadow Seeker, and this is the weekly collective reading for my beautiful collective that I do every Wednesday. We won't waste any time and we will jump right into it. Although I do want to point out before I start shuffling that this reading will be very similar to last week's reading, where it was a mini read. I'm still feeling a very strong disruption within the collective as a whole that I channel into. So hopefully, whatever comes out here that spirit needs us to know at the present moment in time is something that will serve you for your highest good. So without further ado, let's get into the reading. So, this reading, even though I intend it to be a mini reading, it really feels very powerful and prolific. So, I'm actually doing this reading while there's an active thunderstorm going on right now. So, this is like spirit really, confirming that this reading, more or less, is going to be about release, reckoning, and some sort of raw truth that the collective is going through right now. And the energies that I'm feeling so far with the first set of cards that have came out, and they all came out, you know, very quickly, it really feels like there's this war between inner weakness and an external bondage. The reason I say that is because we have here the opening card is the Strength card reversed, and it came out with the Devil card in the upright position. But we also have the Ten of Wands reversed and the Ten of Swords. So there's an angel number there, 1010. So that might be really significant for those of you that follow angel numbers. And so it feels like, with this Devil card, and I know we should have started with the Strength, but it really feels like with this Devil card, that the message here is not just talking about temptation or addiction, but it's talking about fear. And I'm feeling something about truly letting go of something that's really enslaved you spiritually or emotionally. And it's funny I say that because I know personally somebody in the collective is going through something that is making them feel really trapped and sort of enslaved in, like the matrix, like where they're kind of like on autopilot or just kind of watching their life, kind of go by, in cycles. But because this came out like a pair, the Strength and the Devil card, it feels like there's some sort of spiritual depletion. It feels like many people in the collective and a very specific individual has been fighting something that they haven't really fully, named, whether it's codependency, control, unhealthy attachments, addictions, but there's something about cycles. And I'm seeing and really feeling that someone here is really losing the will to fight the illusion behind this Devil card. And the Devil card is actually really illuminating the illusion itself. So it feels like someone is like making peace with, being like confined to something or trapped to something. Now, I do want to mention I'm not using any of my oracle cards except for one particular deck, but that'll be towards the end of the reading. But yeah, it just feels like there's something here where someone is just really trapped in something and they've just lost the will to fight, And then we got these two tens here. So, tens do talk about completion in tarot, but it's reversed. So it's reflecting hesitancy to release. And so it's like someone wants to set their burdens down, but they still carry what doesn't belong to them. there's like this outdated, role or emotional baggage with something. There's like guilt here that I'm feeling, and they're not quite healed. It's like they survived the worst of whatever it is, and it feels like a trauma, like a personal trauma. And it's like the storm is past, but like, the trauma is like echoing right now. So it's like spirit is like asking, like, are you going to rise, or are you going to keep layering yourself in the memory of the fall? So, that's really kind of like an interesting way to describe this feeling. And, really just like going back to this thunderstorm, that's like currently going on. I know you can't really hear it, but, it is really rumbling. There's a lot of rain going on, a lot of, chaos kind of going on right now. It feels like spirit right now is like roaring at you and like really trying to get you to shake loose like any kind of final illusions, or it's almost like a tower moment, is happening like outside. So it's like chaos, like, rumbling essentially. And it's like spirit is wanting you to really acknowledge where you're at right now, because it's like for the longest you haven't been doing that. You've been living in a fantasy or living in these illusions, is what it feels like. So I actually feel really drawn to draw a oracle card, but keep in mind I'm only using one of my decks. Okay, and the card that came out is the wisdom card. It says, "You've been here before and you know what to do, yet you fear disappointing others. The wise choice may not be the popular choice, but the choice for the highest good in this situation." So that actually feels really heavy. Like it feels like it carries a lot of like heavy weight, because it feels like someone is choosing stagnancy, or they're choosing not to evolve or grow with something. But it's like they had this inner knowing that in order for, certain outcomes to happen in their life, they have to, go through like a cocoon and, evolve into like a butterfly, or morph into something that is going to actually have those desired outcomes that happen in their life, if that makes sense. I feel drawn to draw another one. Okay, and the next card says, honor yourself. It says, recognize the hard work you've put into to get where you are today. Instead of thinking how far you still have to go, remind yourself of all that you've accomplished and be proud. I feel like that's a very direct message that somebody needed to hear, because it feels like someone has really been carrying a lot of weight and doing things on their own, and they feel like they have no support. So that's definitely like a very direct message there, to be proud of what you have accomplished within your life and where you are going. Almost as if like you are on the right track, or you're taking the necessary steps to be on the right track. But there's also like this other thread of energy where it's like, you can't see the desired outcome because you're just so comfortable with something. It's like you're like not wanting to grow is what it feels like. So okay, let's see what other messages need to come out here. Okay, so we have 4 more cards here. So these all came out at once. We have the 6 of Pentacles reversed, the 7 of Swords in the upright position, Ace of Pentacles in the upright position, and then we have the 8 of Cups in the reverse position. So what I'm really feeling here at the heart of what's going on with the collective, there is this current reality that's going on, and it's this one-sided exchange of emotional, energetic, financial, spiritual energy. There's a lot of overgiving without it being, receptive. There's a lot of breadcrumbing instead of being nourished. There's a lot of this like helper energy where people are feeling really drained. So there's like a lot of imbalanced soul contracts going on right now. And someone in the collective is really feeling very avoidant and dishonest. This is really interesting energy here. It's like the collective energy that I'm feeling is like someone has ignored or excused an unfair dynamic. And it feels like spirit is not letting this like slide anymore, if that makes sense. Like you're being asked to really like confront this type of energy because it feels really toxic. It feels really, deceptive. It feels really painful, deep down inside, but it's like a pain that you're just like choosing to ignore. But you've been going through this for quite a while, it really feels like. And it's really interesting, like, how I'm feeling this energy because, like, right now the storm has sort of dissipated. Like, I don't hear the thunder anymore. I don't hear the rain. And things seem to have like subsided as far as like the wind and stuff outside. So, that could be confirmation that, when spirit is wanting you to process what's going on in this chaos, that you will find like the peace and serenity that comes after the storm. But you got to be willing to, dive deep into this. So, with this Ace of Pentacles here, it's like a divine gift. It's like a potential for like a new beginning, that's been waiting to be received. Okay. But it's only the potential, to start fresh. You have to actually choose something that's rooted and real and grounded. And to walk away from like false security of something. But see, there's this like emotional echo that keeps like pulling you back in. So with this Ace of like Cups, it's like you're lingering in places that you've spiritually outgrown. And it's like, out of fear of like what comes next. So it feels like you already have like sensed like what needs to go from your life, that you've already felt like the imbalance and that you deserve better. But it's like the walking away part, the cutting the cords, that part is like really scary for you, is what it feels like. So, yeah, it really just feels like you have to know and like honor yourself and know like what you truly deserve and not settle for less. But many of you are just feeling really comfortable in the stagnation, the pain, the suffering, the wailing of the heart, is what it feels like. So I can't, tell you what to do, but it just feels like, you really have to choose better for yourself. So it makes me wonder if you actually will. So we have two divergent paths going on here. We have the Three of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Oh gosh, no, that is wrong. I'm sorry. This is the Knight, not the Nine. The Knight of Cups in the reverse position. So with this pairing, this represents here what is most likely to happen if the collective chooses better for themselves. This right here is really positive. It's really the collective really wanting better for themselves. And in doing so, it's a liberation. But it feels somewhat bittersweet. The reason I say that is because there's a lot of romanticized fantasy like energy coming from this Knight of Cups. And it's centered around a dream, a false hope, or a partner, or something that is tied to your emotions that was not really rooted in your reality. And if you're choosing to not chase these emotional breadcrumbs and instead pour into your own cup, it leads you to this emotional lightness and it opens doors for you towards genuine joy and aligned friendships And this feeling of being one with your tribe, with your community, or with a true path emotionally. So it feels like you would be really, emotionally supported and, going through like a healing journey and a lot of like truth and release. Now, I'm feeling a lot of like lovey dovey type of energy with these cards. And so it feels as if you're seeking like some sort of like romantic, like justice or something. But it doesn't feel like you're going to get that right away going with this path. It feels more like that's going to take time because you have to fill your own cup before you can fill someone else's. So it's really just about a lot of these illusions or this romanticized energy dissipating. But if you choose to stay stagnant, if you choose to be in the path that is really not best aligned with you, we have here the Eight of Swords upright, and we have the Ten of Cups in the upright position. Now, I know you're probably thinking, especially if you receive a lot of readings or you know a lot about tarot, you're thinking, okay, Ten of Cups, that's very, very positive. But you got to think about the combo here. This is actually kind of like a tragic combo, especially in this particular reading. Because with this Eight of Swords, this is really reflecting the trapped energy, the stagnation, and feeling really blinded to your own power. This is like where you're at currently. It's like this self imposed prison of fear, guilt, indecision, and feeling like you're not free because you're choosing limitations because you feel like your freedom is too risky at this present moment. So you're really keeping yourself stuck. You're really keeping yourself trapped in this, like, you know, illusion of you can't break free from the chains that are binding you. But let's go back to that devil card from earlier. So, yeah, that represents a lot of toxic energy going on right now in your energetic field. But you have to think about it. Like when you look at the imagery of the devil card, depending on which tarot deck you're using, but we're talking about the traditional tarot. If you're looking at the devil card, you see that the people that are binded to the devil or the representation of the devil in the card, what's really binding them, it's not truly like, binding them like very tightly or very securely to where they can't break free from those chains. They're actually very loosely binded. So that really represents that you're really choosing to be stuck to those behavioral patterns or those lower vibrational energies that are not serving you. So, because of all this trapped, self imposed energy here, the Ten of Cups would represent superficial harmony or a picture perfect fantasy that may look good on the outside, but it's really emotionally hollow. So there's no substance, there's no depth. And it would be you choosing to stay in a dynamic that pretends to be love, but it lacks a real soul enriching connection, something that you're really, desiring. So it's like the appearance of happiness, or the appearance of happiness within a home or with a partner or with, children or like a surface level, happiness. But underneath, you're suffocating emotionally. You're really just living this dream, but it's really like, a cage that you sort of built for yourself to make it look like on the outside that everything is okay, but on the inside, you're just really not fulfilled. So I get the sense that's definitely not where you want to be at. So, with that said, we're going to draw one last card, and it's going to be an oracle card from the Akashic Records deck. Okay, and this card says release judgment. It says holding on to judgment, whether of yourself or others, only clouds your vision. Release it and see the world through your path with clearer eyes. So that is a very beautiful place to end the reading. Thank you all for extending your beautiful high vibrational energy to the reading and helping to co create these messages. I do hope something is here for you, and I am sending you lots of love, light, and happiness. And I will see you in the next reading.